Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. It's been a cold and wet week this week, so it's been do some stuff around the farm a little bit in the morning if it was dry, collecting eggs, that kind of thing in between showers, and then getting the fire nice and warm and stoked up and sitting by the fire, enjoying the afternoon of knitting and crafting and also doing some work on my website. So it's been quite an inside week. I did get a little bit of gardening done with mum. We planted some more plants and I also planted my garlic. Totally forgotten about it, but I was talking to someone this week and it reminded me that it had just been the shortest week, which is the perfect time to be planting your garlic, and got the veggie box ready. And the cloves that I had ready to go had actually already sprouted. So they are in the ground with little green sprouts on them already. So hopefully they do really well. I have them on the far side of the box away from the sheep so that they don't stick their heads through and eat them. So hopefully they will do well. I've also moved the sheep back out of the extra bit of shed garden grass area back to just their paddock for two reasons. One, they had done very well in terms of eating down the grass, but also Vito has figured out that he can climb up on the mesh wire and get up to eat the flowers on the other side, which is pushing the wire down to a point where it's very easy for any of them to be able to get out. I know that Hurley can jump, so it probably isn't an issue for him anyway, because if he wanted to get out, he would. But I need to now do some work on fixing that, probably running a top wire to make it nice and taut and putting that that mesh up against that top wire so that they can't pull it down the way they have been. So now I have a little project before they go back into that area again. Another very busy week business-wise. I was at two markets last weekend. I was at the Tea Time Yarn Retreat Market on the Saturday, which is a closed market for the retreat attendees. It's always a lovely one to go to as everyone is so friendly. It's inside a house. It's nice and snuggly and warm during winter, and you get to sort of speak a bit more with individual people and talk about projects and share what's going on. The following day, I was at the Victorian Wool Show at the Ballarat Showgrounds, and man, was it cold. I don't think it got to a feels like temperature above zero all day. It was freezing. There were heaters inside the shed, so it was tolerable if you stood by the heater. But once you got anywhere far away, it was just absolutely freezing. So unfortunately, because it was so cold and so wet, there wasn't a stack of people who came out. Thank you if you did come and visit me. It was a really good day anyway. Got to speak to some great people, practice another setup for my market, and came up with some ideas for future events. So even though it wasn't great sales wise, it was good in terms of just being out and about and meeting some really lovely people and getting more experience in doing markets. So my car packing on the way up went really well. I'm kind of getting a bit of a groove on how to do it now. The problem was when I had to add the things that I had left up at Creswick back into the car, because I'd put my mesh walls on the bottom because I didn't need those for the Saturday market, only for the Sunday. So I didn't want to have to take them out of the car and muck around with putting them back in and everything. So when I put the extra stuff in, it kind of piled up all over the place. And then even worse, after I'd finished with tea time, putting everything back in the car to go to the Ballarat Showgrounds. Luckily, I was able to do the setup for the Showgrounds event on the Saturday afternoon. So it was in daylight and it wasn't too cold or wet that day. And so I was able to get all of the mess out of my car. I was worried though that at the end on the Sunday afternoon, because it had been such a mess in between times, that I was not going to be able to fit everything in the car and it was going to be just awful. But surprisingly, I put all my tubs in, put the mesh walls on top, all my 3 tables, and everything fitted so well and nice and flat, easy to see out, nothing moved around. So that was extremely pleasing. And good to know that I can have like the biggest setup possible with tables and everything in my car, and it will all fit. When I got home, I unpacked and I'm now going through my tubs and I am counting. End of financial year, have to do all of the counting of stock, both dyed and undyed, and get all that sorted out. And I'm also adding quite a few items to my sales page on my website. So if you're up for a bargain, there's definitely some good sale items up there now. Just trying to sort through some of my older stock because I have just ordered, and they arrived yesterday. Very exciting. A couple of different bases that I'm going to try out. So I'm going to be doing some dyeing and some knitting and some trying out of these couple of bases that I have to see if I'm going to stock them. So I'm sort of transitioning from a few older bases into some newer ones. So we'll see how that goes. I have to obviously like them and know that you will like them. So I need to do some work on actually doing some dyeing on those bases before they will be live to try out yourself. I'm going to also include this bit in business instead of my own crafty stuff because these items that I've purchased were part of the wholesale order that I made when I got this new yarn to try. And I'm thinking that I might stock some of these in my shop. So I thought I'd show you here. And if you're interested, then you can let me know and I can decide whether they are going to be in my shop or not. So one of the things that I bought was one of these Fiore sock rulers. As you've seen before, I use a piece of cardboard as a template to do my socks, and I thought it would be interesting to try out one of the sock rulers. And I have at markets been stocking a few sets of needles, and I've also been stocking sock sets, wound up balls of a full skein and a mini skein to make socks. So I thought that this would complement that whole sort of sock vibe that I was going for. So I'm going to give this a try for myself first, but also if you're interested in getting one, let me know because I do have a few others. And if they are popular, I may start to stock them. The other thing that I bought for myself, but I thought maybe other people would be interested too, is a Knit Pro pattern keeper. I'm very much an analog pattern kind of girl. I always print it out and mark it off on the page. I don't like the whole digital thing. I like to have like a paper copy and mark it up and make notes and all that kind of thing. So I thought that I would try out one of these pattern keepers because I was finding like it scrunches down in your bag and gets really quite messy. This is the small size, but it's bigger than an A5 and it clips open and then you flip it back and then you clip it on itself and it stands up like an A-frame. You've got magnets, you've got a strip magnet so you can put it across and like mark a row of your pattern. And you've also got 3 little magnets that you could put in different spots to mark things or to just hold your pattern in place. Then on the other side, you have a pocket and there's a pen there as well. So again, I'm going to give this a try and see if I like using it. It will at least keep the paper pattern neat and easy to find and not scrunched down in the bottom of the bag. But again, if you're interested in these, this is the only one I have at the moment. This is mine. But if you're interested in trying one out for yourself, next time I place an order, if you're interested, I could grab one for you as well. So just put a comment below or send me an email or a message if you're thinking about getting one, and we can go from there. First 2 things I bought last weekend. I splashed out a little bit. It's really hard when you go to markets and you see all the other fabulous makers to not end up spending lots of money. So I bought myself this beautiful corduroy bag from Crystal Cat Stitchery. There's her logo there. Liz is a lovely person and a really great bag maker. It is absolutely beautiful. Gorgeous ribbon, really lovely corduroy, leather on the handles, which is going to wear really nicely. And it opens up nice and big and it's got pockets inside. And I've been eyeing this off. I've seen her post these on Instagram and I thought I have to get myself one before she goes to Bendigo and sells them all. The other thing that I bought for myself was a braid of fibre. The Ballarat Spinners and Weavers were at the Victorian Sheep Show, and I got this from Weft of Centre is the name of the business. And it's a beautiful Corriedale purples, so that will be fun to spin up at some point. Haven't been spinning lately, so have to get around to that. I also picked up some pom-poms and tags for my sister that she had ordered, and then I got these sleeves to put your balls of yarn in. So they're a stretchy fabric. These are from Tea Time Yarn Retreats from Bali. She made them, and really cute, and they snug around your yarn and just protect it when it's like sitting on the couch and rolling around a little bit, so you don't get all the fluff and stuff on it. So bought 2 of those. Now to the knitting. As you can see, I am wearing my True Stripes jumper. It is finished apart from weaving in the ends. Just before I started recording, I literally had to shove all of the ends down inside so that you couldn't see them. So it's all seamed together except for one. I just realized I've got one bit down here. The hem down here hasn't been done. So I finished it up last night and I'm really super, super happy with it. I was worried as I was putting it together. When I laid it all out, it seemed like it was going to be really big, like baggy and like low neck. And I haven't done a piece of knitting that was in pieces and seamed together for a really long time. So I kind of forgot that doing all of the seaming takes up some of the fabric and pinches it all up where it needs to go. And it's just come together beautifully. The sleeves sort of come down across my knuckles, but the cuffs, see there's an end, but the cuffs are nice and tight, so you can have it around your wrist as well, and it just provides that extra bit of fabric up through here. Super, super happy with it. So I seamed it together using a mattress stitch, trying to match up the stripes as best I could. I used the cream, the Wangaratta Woolen Mills cream, because it was like the least precious color to me. So that, because I didn't want to waste any of the hand-dyed yarn really on the inside where you weren't going to be able to see it. So yeah, I mattress stitched it all together. The only spot where I used the hand-dyed yarn to do the mattress stitch was on the cuffs, so that right up to the very edge, all you see is the old Miller Green from the Knitting Man Recommends rather than the cream. And then the purple pink colour is from Colleen's Crafts. The light green is from Colleen's Crafts. And the yellow with the pops of colour is Mango Daiquiri by Fluff and Nonsense. So I am super happy with this. I'm feeling like I'm a little bit sitting funny, but anyway. Yeah, I really enjoyed knitting it. The stripes are really fun to knit. I actually didn't mind doing it in pieces because it was garter stitch as well. So it just sort of zoomed by in terms of just getting the pieces done and being fairly mindless, because I didn't have to keep track of the number of stitches or the number of rows, because it was the number of stripes. And it has worked out that it fits really great. So I'm super happy with this pattern. I don't know what I'm going to start knitting on next. I'm going to have to look back through that 52 weeks book, or I've got a few other patterns. Of course, I have some other whips that I haven't touched in a while, but not a jumper. So I'll have to sort of think for a little bit and see what I'm going to do next. I haven't done any more work on the crochet shawl that I started a few weeks ago. So maybe I'd get back into doing that for a little bit while I think about what I really want to make next. That's sort of a good sort of clear the palette kind of thing to do. I am working on my bed socks made out of the Zilana worsted yarn. I have quite a lot done. So here's where the heel goes in. I've made the leg as long as the foot, and I'm now onto the cuff, and I only have a little bit left. So I'm thinking that I will just probably knit the whole lot, and maybe we'll see how we go. But it's getting up to a really good long length on my leg, because I want to be able to keep my legs warm at night or tuck my pajamas in so I'm nice and snuggly and warm. So that is the first of my bed socks. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.